Hi, my name is Tom Besold. I'm an English teacher here with Beckett. And today I'm going to be talking about habit building as it pertains to language and language development, language acquisition. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. To improve is to fail over and over and over again. Now, failure is scary and failure is embarrassing. But yet, the only way to sustain growth is to fail. As much as we'd prefer otherwise, change doesn't happen merely because we want it to. There is no wand to wave or button to press to enact change. It happens only through hard work. Now, unsexy as it may be, it is the truth. And if we want to improve, we must be honest with ourselves about this reality. Now, this can sound scary and daunting at first, but in fact, the idea that there is no substitute for hard work can be liberating, because we are capable of hard work. We are not capable of magic. Habit management is founded upon a base of hard work. That is an unavoidable reality, and to build healthy habits, the first step is to embrace this reality. Now, I'd like all of you to think of a skill of yours, something you're good at. How did the skill develop? Did you merely wish to get better, or did you put hours in? And in the end, was it worth it? So while, again, it can be daunting and scary, it is within all of us to work hard. Not only are we capable of working hard, our brain wants us to work hard. It feels good to work hard, to improve, to learn new skills, to better ourselves. Our bad habits make us feel bad, and yet we do them because they are easy. A bad habit of mine is my Twitter usage. Sometimes I lay in bed for hours on end doing nothing but scrolling Twitter. I do this often. I do this all the time. And every time I do, I feel terrible. I have low energy. I feel slow. I feel sluggish. Brain fog. And I wonder why I feel so bad, despite the obvious culprit. Undeniably, that time would be better spent reading a book, exercising, or studying. Now, that is not to say that every hour of our day must be filled with self-improvement, because sometimes guilty pleasures do feel good. We must be honest with ourselves, and that means listening to our brain. It tells us if we're spending our time wisely or poorly, and it's up to us to listen. The reality is, when I'm spending way too much time on Twitter, I know it. A small part of my brain screams at me to stop, and yet it's far easier to keep scrolling. So that's what I end up doing. But building good habits means listening to the small voice in your brain, the one that tells you when you're using your time poorly and when you're using it well. Now, it's as much easier said than done. It's hard to be honest with ourselves. In that moment, it's very hard to be honest with ourselves. But that is why we must do it. It's the only way to build good habits. So I ask you all, what are your bad habits? Do they ever make you feel bad? Why do you keep doing them? And do you agree that it feels good to work hard? Everyone wants to change. We all want to get better. We all want to improve, whether it's at learning a language, any new skill, even relating to our personal lives. We all want to change. We all want to improve. But what does it actually take? If we want to master a language, we know that we can't simply wish to. We must work for it. But it takes more than that. Rome was not built in a day. And as much as we'd like to, we won't be able to learn a new language in a day either, no matter how hard we work. And it won't take a week, or a month, or a year. We must embrace this reality if we truly want to sustain positive growth. Take the longest view we possibly can. On one hand, this is incredibly daunting. It's easy to ask ourselves, like, if we really have it within ourselves to work for years on end at something. It's easy to fear that we can't, to think that we can't. And beyond that, our brains can hardly even process that amount of time. It takes a leap of faith on our parts to believe that we'll be able to work at a singular goal for that long. But on the other hand, it is freeing to take the long view. It is impossible to master a language today. But it is possible to work for 20 minutes today. Days are deceptively long. Every single one of us can find the time to improve because it really doesn't take all that long. Think of all you can learn in an hour. The hard part is sticking to it day in and day out. Building upon that foundation and building habits. That's what takes time. That takes grinding every single day, in and out, even when you don't necessarily feel like it. Now, every person is different, so you must listen to yourself and build habits that work for you. Some people prefer a strict, rigid schedule, while others prefer to go with the flow. Be honest with yourself and don't feel that there's a right way to learn, because there's not. Whatever works for you, and there's no reason to act otherwise. Don't try to learn or build habits in the style of other people just because it seems to be working for them. Truly, listen to yourself. No one knows yourself better than you, so you know what you need to do to build good habits. And yes, of course, there will be days where you don't want to work, days where you're exhausted, unfocused, unprepared, for whatever reason. By the definition, not every day will be your best. It can't be. Not every day is going to be amazing. But embrace that and know that as long as you're trying to better yourself, you are using your time wisely. So I ask, how long did it take you all to learn English? Do you think you finished learning? I keep coming back to the idea of being honest with ourselves. Delusion does not lead to change. We must be honest that change comes only through hard work, through embracing the long view, and through failure. The only way to improve is to fail and fail repeatedly. That is the hardest part about change. We all like to think of ourselves as smart, as good, and as capable people. I know I certainly do. And it's easy to think that good, smart people, such as ourselves, never fail and are always perfect and always know exactly what and how to do what it is they want to succeed at. In turn, meaning that we ourselves must never fail. But that is not true. We have to fail. It is a prerequisite to success. And without failure, we will never get anywhere. Failure should not make us feel embarrassment or shame. Rather, we should embrace it, knowing that we are one step closer to realizing our goals. Anyone who has ever been good at anything got there by failing a million times. It would be foolish and vain on our part to think that we're any different, that we shouldn't be subjected to this failure just because we're us and we're special. No, we need to do this to improve. Everyone does. We've all failed when learning a new language. Everyone has. We've botched grammar points, misinterpreted subtleties, misunderstood native speakers, and that is okay. We have to, or we will never get better. So, what stories do you all have about failure and language? because I'm sure there are some good ones. Building good habits is not easy, which is why we must do it. It feels good to work hard, and it feels good to improve. But to do so, we have to be honest with ourselves. What are our bad habits? What can we replace them with? And how can we embrace the long view? To know that we're not going to master our craft in a day. We're not going to learn a new language today just because we want to. We have to know that it is going to take years and years and years, but we can do it. We need to ask ourselves, how can I better myself today? What is within my control? What do I have power over that I can do today to improve? And we need to treat failure for what it ultimately is, improvement. So thank you all for listening. As we all know, building good habits is so key to language improvement. Embracing that daily grind is absolutely vital to improvement. And again, we are all capable of it, and we know how to do it.